Like me trying to get in frame. Hi. Nah.
There we go.
So the reason we're here today... First off, welcome to Dirk Nerd.
Where we introduce ourselves. We really need an actual intro.
Where we're drunk nerds that don't know how to spell.
Yep. So anyways, the reason that we're doing this is...
We are stupid. And by we, I mean he. And I say he because he's friends with me. And I'm a dumbass.
So we did a speed build-off against each other, and we had a lot of fun with it.
A lot of things were said. Many fantastic jokes about Linus and dropping stuff.
And we very much went with a lot of banter during all of it, and I went to edit it and found out that he had been really stressed that morning, and when he came to record, we didn't think to use my mic, and we were kind of in a rush to get started, and he didn't pay attention to the fact that the phone had not defaulted back to its own microphone. So there was no audio at all. So our new plan, instead of editing it like I usually do to make us sound like ridiculous people, because we are.
We're just going to be ridiculous people.
And we're going to play this back at 5 times speed so that it's a real and true speed build. And we're going to dub over it to make this a completely stupid video.
Yeah.
So you ready?
Let's see, I was using a 750 watt power supply. Nice. I barely remember what all the parts were at this point.
So I don't even think that's the power supply you ended up using. I think that's the fancy one.
Let's press play.
Yeah.
Let's get into this shit.
Okay, so I love how it was shaking originally. There's you showing off your tools.
My little tools from Wally World.
As I'm over here, I don't know, pulling apart an ESD bracelet.
You were doing a lot of things that I wasn't sure about.
Yeah.
My framing wasn't great either, apparently, because I probably bumped the camera.
Yeah.
After...
There was another camera pointed at me that only recorded half an hour of this, so I'm no better at this point because we didn't know and we'd never tried using that camera.
That was also your first time using any tripod.
And that camera. Hey, here's us setting up that camera. So, I mean, we recorded for 2 hours and 20 minutes, but these builds did not take us that long.
Oh, that was probably me adjusting your tripod because you didn't know that it tightens.
Yeah. Hey, look, an iFixit kit. Anyway.
Boom.
Buy iFixit.
Those are the cable extenders that
Yes.
I hate. I don't like them because they add bulk, but they look pretty.
Yes.
So it's a give and take.
The only reason that I use them is because they are still cheaper than getting one straight from the power supply and getting fully modular power supplies.
Here's me like, I've got an ESD bracelet. I'm going to plug it into everything and zap myself.
You mean into that power outlet? Oh wait, that one does work. It was
That-
my power outlet.
your
that
power
didn't work
outlet.
originally.
Spoilers. Speaking of spoilers, I obviously won this race because all my components worked. Before his did.
Just because Power Color gave me a dead GPU, that does not mean that it's my fault. I built the computer faster. They just gave me a crappy GPU.
I got mine to start up first. I won.
I did officially install an operating system.
Those
on
were
yours
the
first.
Those were the NZXTs, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
so they
the
are
H510s, I think.
Yes, you can see that down there.
That's why I
both of
knew
them.
what it was. Oh, you can't actually tell in our recording.
You can see the H51. Okay, it's close.
But yeah, fantastic case. We were using MSI motherboards, obviously. These were cloned builds, by the way. The only difference was the color in our extending cables.
Correct, to turn them into Joker and Harley Quinn builds. Unfortunately, I've already had to sell them separately, so there was no way to sell these together to anybody. But we did actually. I sold one of them to help like pay for some of it, along with an extra paycheck I had at the time. So I'm still waiting to sell off the other one so far. I did just finally get the pieces back for that.
So if you're interested, please dial.
You know, at some point I should click save. I mean, it was totally recording it the whole time, I'm pretty sure. But I do need to click save as it's doing that.
What do you mean you have to click save?
Oh, I had to click save to make sure that it was like back to this screen. Based on what I saw before, it'll still know that we were moving it around and all.
Okay.
I just don't know where we'll be located on it temporarily.
Oh, I see.
We may still be in that corner for a bit.
Oh,
that's fine.
Whoops. Here, obviously, we're installing the
RAM Trident.
You're installing the RAM. I'm taking the Trident RAM out.
Yes.
I don't think we've installed the M.2s yet.
No. And it was Trident Z Neo, 3600 megahertz. We had already installed the CPUs here.
Ooh, do you have those pictures you were taking?
I do.
Oh, sweet. You should add them on top of my face.
So,
or mostly my belly, because I'm so fat right now.
Oh my god.
I've got to go back on a diet.
So, 3600 megahertz speed. There's you putting in or pulling out the CPU. I don't know. We probably looked away for too long. So the CPUs were 3700Xs. Now I'm doing my M.2.
I'm doing M.2. Yep. It looks like you're winning right now, but don't let that fool you, guests, viewers. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Target shoppers.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I called our viewership guests. Shut up. Wow, the lighting is ridiculous.
Don't worry, downstairs looks so much different now. That painting is gone. The entire wall behind us there is now teal green. The walls on the sides are gray.
And my table is in the middle of a bed. Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Which is why there's going to be a new studio that we're going to start recording from eventually.
Yes, we actually are going to be working on that in the next couple of weeks here. I still have the reception of my wedding. It is going to be separate, so that's still kind of throwing off a few things. That's why we're like filming for a while and stuff. So I do have that coming up, and once we create that whole studio, it's going to look a whole lot nicer for these.
Yeah, and currently I'm unable to use Studio 18, which is our initial recording location. Yeah. So right now we're just using Studio M.
Yes. And this was still a whole lot nicer than where we were building the computers, though that area has been rebuilt as well. Where we were doing the computers in front of those like unfinished walls has all been done, and at some point we're hopefully going to be able to do builds there as well as in the main studio, because I want to be able to still kind of mix up our backgrounds a little bit.
Let's see. Oh, these are the screw bags that I just pulled out for the NZXT. Or it's so weird hearing Linus calling it NZXT.
Oh my god.
And it's like, no, Linus, I don't care that you're Canadian.
I remember one of your motherboard screws refused.
Oh, yeah.
Refused everything.
I could not get a motherboard screw into the...
top left, I believe?
There were 2 screws at least.
But then we did get the one in.
Yeah, they just would not go into the standoffs. But it held in overall. I just couldn't get 2 screws in. That's a minor issue, but they were the screws closest to the I/O.
I'm going to blame this on part of why you were a little bit slower than me, is because you were sitting there and having to remagnetize your bit constantly. Like, that takes time. Not a lot.
I only magnetized it once.
I just watched you do it twice.
Well, it's at 500 speed, so...
Oh, okay.
You know, that blurred. Yeah, I'm definitely having trouble with those screws right there.
Yeah.
Thankfully, in this build, I was wearing that ISD bracelet, though. Not that it...
ESD.
ESD.
My hair was really long in this because I was just about to get it cut.
Yeah.
And so it looks ridiculous.
Let's see. Oh, I hope no one knows we're from Colorado.
Why?
My shirt's for Denver Comic-Con.
Oh my god. I mean, tons of people go to Denver Comic-Con that aren't from Colorado.
We're not from Colorado.
Definitely
Trust me.
not. Nope.
Nope. But anyway. Oh, you're not wearing shoes.
I like how some of the fact that I had gained weight, or at least gained fat, not weight particularly, but gained fat was showing off in this.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
Oh, fucking combs. I hate installing those combs. They are so finicky, and then I realize I put some of them backwards and have to take them back off.
I had never done combs, and now I officially agree, but at the same time, they look so nice. They're a pain in the ass, but it's worth it.
I'm gonna stick with what I did in my PC from now on, where I just put a fucking cover on the cables.
Yeah.
Like, I just use the plastic sleeving onto my cables in my PC. It took quite a bit of finicking around with cutting it to make it look decent, but it looks good in there.
Yeah.
It looks sci-fi.
So, in this case, though, you do want to definitely make sure that before you put the motherboard in, that you do go ahead and open the back of the case and pull the screws out of their little cubby, because neither of us did that and set the motherboards in there and then had to float the motherboards while we pulled those out.
I had the screws pulled out earlier.
Oh, okay.
No, I had those pulled out immediately. You forgot.
Yeah, we didn't the first time that we built in the case.
That was in the white.
Yeah, you remembered this one and I didn't. So.
Yeah. Well, I also took off both panels in the first place anyway.
Fair. Make it easier on yourself.
Absolutely. Because I remember how much of a pain in the ass getting the power supply in was.
I will say the one thing I don't like about those specific cable extensions is they did not come with an extension for the 4-pin power connector.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really relevant because like the CPUs in there, though, you could do some overclocking. They're not going to be like extreme overclocked or anything, so it's not going to matter that you can't really like have a pretty cable going to that or anything. But it is frustrating that that they didn't include one as an option.
Yeah. Here I am installing the power supply itself. I think I installed it upside down the first time.
This is me flailing about with the 24-pin for the motherboard.
Yep.
It's great.
Ooh, that purple looks nice.
It does. And that's actually the build that's still available.
Okay. You know, my camera didn't pick up great detail unless this is just the...
Some of this is the playback. It will actually fix itself.
No, it won't.
Oh, that's fair.
So yeah, we'll show stills of certain spots where we show things off.
Yeah.
But, you know.
And I do have B-roll of both of these computers and all built.
My thing about these extensions is I would recommend, against getting extensions for those who do want to build a PC, I would recommend getting custom-made cables that go with your power supply.
It is simpler, but also a fully modular power supply usually runs about $60 more than a non-modular or semi-modular, and also those cables, the custom ones, are about another $100. So understand, it does depend on how you're looking to do it. Like if you want a fully nice PC build and you're not worried about that cost, please get the custom ones. But yes. I also understand that if you're on any form of budget, this is the only way you can really go.
Absolutely. Well, on top of that, though, additional wires can add additional heat into your system. It's not going to be a huge amount of heat, but just having wires coiled around each other is not a great idea, just because sometimes that can build up heat and even possibly melt the wires. So keep in mind how many wires you've got in your system. Thankfully, we had enough space in this system to deal with all of it.
Correct.
But that is something to think about when you're building your PC.
And should mention they were 500 gig SSDs, NVMe M.2s, and they were 2 terabyte hard drives. So
those are the Seagate Barracuda hard drives, I believe.
Correct.
Yes.
So they are going to be very good overall hard drives for storing games. You're going to have plenty of space on there. The 6700 XTs are great at 1080p and 1440p. I wouldn't run a whole lot of 4K on them, but I've run 4K on a 1080 and not had problems. It's just going to be a lot lower of frame rates, and these do beat out a 1080 by about 23%, according to user benchmarks.
What you just saw there with me picking up the GPU while still in its wrapping, I was trying to figure out where the plug or which direction the plug goes into it, so I could route it correctly and have the combs on nicely.
Fair.
So that's what I was just doing there. Not sure if it was that obvious, but I want to state that because when you're putting on the combs, some people like them visible and the others are idiots. So there's that.
I did have to fight quite a bit with the cable extension for the motherboard, for the CPU power. I do remember that. That one was a pain in the butt, and you can see me doing that over here.
I remember trying to get the cable through the holes back there past the motherboard. Another thing I've got to mention, put the cables in the case before the motherboard.
Yeah.
That's something we both forgot to do, and we had to struggle a lot in regards to that.
Yeah, because we were fighting around the motherboard for everything.
Yeah. Otherwise, a fantastic case to work in. I much prefer the black version over the white version, especially because of that top fan.
Yeah.
That goddamn top fan that pisses me off.
I feel like, honestly, though, for the build that you ended up building, I should have gone with the red one. It may only be a little bar down the middle, but it would have added that extra flare of red that I think would have been nice.
Oh, that
where the
case.
power cables come out,
Yeah.
and it's no difference in price.
In the future, we might actually try customizing a case instead of just going with a stock one. Possibly spray painting the interior or something just to add flair. This is not something we're comfortable doing yet. Because right now, to us, these are expensive pieces.
Yeah. Right now, a lot of what I'm trying to accomplish is learning the different cases. So I'm going... Like, these were really nice. They were quick. The reason I picked them is because we had built it in the other one. After building in your case for your computer and my case for my computer, I have pros and cons to all of these cases. These ones are really nice. The header for their front I/O is super nice.
Oh yeah, the header is super nice because it's one piece. A lot of cases do come with single piece header pins, but those that don't are assholes because it's a standardized setup anyway.
Yeah.
I'm still a little upset at Cooler Master for not having a one piece header setup, but at the same time, and Thermaltake
and
Corsair. But at the same time, what I end up doing is I'll actually twist tie them all together and stick them in together and then take the twist tie off.
Yeah.
Another thing I'd be tempted to do is possibly just buy the header, and if needed, just take the pins out of the header and put it into a new header.
True. I will say one build that I got to do recently that I won't get to really show off on here, which is unfortunate, is a mini ITX build. That was really fun. Built that one for my wife, though.
Get some snapshots and put them in right over us.
I will, yeah.
Yeah, do it Fact Fiend style. Just have it slide over.
Hey, look, there's you showing off the Denver Comic Con shirt.
Denver Comic Con shirt. I thought we were going to cut that out, but apparently not.
At this point, no.
No, it's all announced. We don't give a shit.
Right.
I've got an identity. You can steal it or borrow it or whatever.
I mean, Colorado's still a pretty large state, so whatever.
Yeah.
I like how darked out we are right now.
Right?
Should probably turn on that ring light.
Rah. It's not fun. Oh.
I like how that did nothing.
It did nothing.
Now I can't see the screen. Yep. I apologize that you could see our faces for a second. I'm gonna change that again.
Oh.
That light is so bright. This is why it's always off to my right at all times. Like, you can tell why I do that now.
This is why I can't have a ring light around a camera. It's so stupid. Let's see this. What am I doing? I am doing a thing. I've got screws.
You are currently pulling the... You're trying to mount the...
Oh, I'm
HDD.
working on... No,
No.
I'm still working on fans. I was trying to find the right screws.
Yes.
That's what's going on. The thing I love about this case is that it's got an entire panel you can remove from the case to install your cooler onto and put the panel back into the case easily with thumb screws.
Fair.
That is a fantastic feature of this case. But otherwise, I still prefer my master box.
I see. The thing is your master box is really nice if it's not fully lit up inside. It's just like you don't have a PSU cover.
My PSU looks decent though in there.
Yours does. I'm just saying for some, there's quite a few power supplies you would not want to just be able to see in there.
What's going on? Why is it stopped?
Don't worry. I'll start it again.
Please, not from the beginning.
Don't worry.
Okay, there. Like I just mentioned, I'm putting that panel back into the case now with the cooler installed, and it's such a nice feature to have.
It is.
In a case.
The only thing that I would say, like these cases, they have these nice features, but you couldn't put any high-end components in here. Like, not like these aren't good components. I'm saying like you couldn't put in, you know, a 3080 Ti in here.
Yeah.
And, you know, a 10900K or something, because you will overheat it.
Oh yeah. It's only got... Its issue is that you only have room for a 280 rad?
240.
240 rad. And maybe you can install a 140, a 120 or 140 on top.
Yeah.
But that's only 2 radiators. For a high-end system, is probably not worth doing.
Yeah.
Also, the way those fans work on the front, they do not push directly through the front of the case. They have a vent that goes in through the side. It is not the best ventilation.
Correct. Now on these systems, I have fully tested both of them. The CPU on running Cinebench, so going all cores, like absolutely maxed out, I was only hitting 61C.
Not
on
bad.
a 3700X. Now, part of that's because it's Ryzen. Part of that is because it is still at least a liquid cooling system. But I wouldn't put like a 3950 in this because it wouldn't have enough airflow. It would die.
Surprisingly, the Master Box might even beat this out for cooling. So,
yeah.
Despite the Master Box itself having abysmal cooling.
Yeah.
But it is a beautiful case. So,
it is.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm currently installing the cooler onto the CPU, I think. No, I think I'm getting the cables through. I'm currently getting cables through.
Yeah, because...
Which are a pain in the ass around the motherboard.
We just did things in a very different order.
Yeah.
I mean, we got there in basically the same amount of time.
Fat rat's nest.
Which one?
Mine.
Yeah, both of us had one.
But mine's visible because yours is just shown against the black a little bit.
This is true.
Mine's got the better lighting, unfortunately. I think I prefer my table for a build because it's more visible, but...
Yeah, I mean... They both kind of worked for us as people. Like,
yeah.
Also, yours worked better for you because... I mean, you're not that much shorter than me, but you're just enough shorter that a more reachable table, like, I could sit there, set stuff down on my case and reach over top of it.
Yeah.
A little more easily than you could.
True. I'm more of a wide...
Yeah, so you need it spread out to the sides.
I'm a wide load. What am I playing with now? Oh, I'm checking the cables for the PSU.
Yeah.
Just making sure, like, is this the right cable for this case? Is this CPU or GPU?
Oh, that's the cable I ended up replacing too, because remember we didn't have an extra GPU. power cable for you.
That's correct.
And so we pulled that off the other power supply that's now in my wife's build.
Oh.
Because that power supply was perfect for it, because it being fully modular.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, why not put it in the build that needs as few wires as possible?
Absolutely.
Being an ITX. And so we pulled that off, but then I just bought one off of Amazon and replaced that. So
what am I doing now?
putting stuff away.
I hope so. No, I'm getting another cable.
Oh yeah, you must have been doing one cable at a time.
Well, we also ran into a situation that we didn't have all the right cables either, so.
Yeah, which is why I ended up having to pull it, so.
Yeah, I'll silence my phone after we finish recording.
Doesn't matter, it's not like your phone is the one recording and having your mom call on it or anything.
Oh my god.
That only happens almost every video.
I know. It's ridiculous. I'm now playing with a thing. I think I'm putting the hard drive into the bracket.
Yes, because that bracket... Just knowledge of this case now is pull that bracket out, attach the thing, and then put it back in, because trying to attach it inside of the case is legitimately designed to be impossible.
Yeah, one thing I dislike about this case is the fact that you have to screw the bracket back into the bracket that's in the case.
Yes.
There's 3 bracket, or the case, a bracket for 2 hard drives, and 1 bracket for each hard drive, and you have to screw that bracket back into it, which is unfortunate because I've seen so many pre-builts, like Dells and Lenovo's, where they've got a hard drive sled that just snaps into place.
Yeah.
And I'm very disappointed that NZXT doesn't use that sort of technology.
I know, and like I have it in my case, even though my case was a bitch to get it in there. Note on the Corsair case, I already said this before in my video on it, but you have to put the hard drive in there while the RAD is out. You can't install the RAD first. That was the only problem with that. As soon as I took the RAD out, I could install it all. But that one's a completely different issue. This one is much better about that, because you could leave the power supply in there and pull that out. Even though, yes, you had that second bracket and all like that, you could pull it out, put it all together, and put it in there while the PSU was still inside, which is nice. Honestly,
I think the best hard drive bracket I've used on a case so far is my master box from Cooler Master. I hate saying it, but it had this nice little bracket that has a thumb screw on it. You unscrew the thumb screw, put the bracket onto the hard drive, and put it back in and thumb screw it.
Yeah.
And it never got in the way.
By the way, this is me putting away everything because the computer is built. It's all completely done, and everything's all hooked up now. And I'm even going over there to point at things with all of my extra time. And I'm packing my box super nicely. I'm putting every component back into my box while I wait for him to figure out how to get a back panel on.
Hey, I'm used to front panels. And these are side panels, FYI.
I mean, fair.
I'm like...
I still have those antennae sticking out of the back. I never took them off to this day.
Oh, you left the antenna on.
Yep. They're still sitting on there in the office.
I'm still slightly upset at myself for not getting a Wi-Fi board, but at the same time, mine worked out decently.
It did. But every build that I've done has had Wi-Fi boards.
Yeah.
To sell, at least. Even Christina's build has a Wi-Fi board.
Ooh.
Not that she needs it by any means, but
Wi-Fi is a nice feature.
It is, and on a mini ITX board, it pretty much just comes standard.
Now, I love the view of the PC that I'm showing off right now, but that's because with the current lighting, you cannot see the copper part of the GPU.
Just barely.
The GPU is unfortunately designed because it's got these copper pipes showing that are god awful compared in contrast to the rest of the board.
True.
So power color is not our favorite.
No. I do have to say that I like the blower style of the card, though.
Here's me full of myself because I just won and actually got it started. I got mine to boot. While you're like stuck in a boot loop or something.
No, mine was stuck because that power plug didn't work.
That's what it was, right?
Yes, there was no power to the computer. That wasn't my fault.
Well, you got it started a little bit just now, but, you know.
Yeah.
Or 3 minutes ago in the video.
Right.
And
okay.
that was all. That was me winning.
Uh-huh.
Because all of my parts worked.
Yep.
And I got it to start up fast first.
I just realized we're on opposite sides. Alright. Come here. This is where we now re-record again. No, not really. So anyways, welcome to Nerd, where we introduce ourselves.
I kind of hate that you stuck with that stupid joke of mine.
You were the one who stuck to it first.
Anyway, welcome, please. Be pleased. We will start watching this video now that we are lined up.
Yeah, no, we're not doing this again.
What?
No.
But... You smell like Marcus.
We have a ring light. Stare at the ring light.
I'm trying, but I don't see it on screen. Oh, it's on that screen. Ah!
I mean, we're not actually going to use the ring light. No, just turn it to maximum intensity. Anyways. I love that I can technically edit this while it's recording.
Oh yeah, that's what I love about OBS. I meant the aspect ratio.
Yeah. What do you mean the aspect ratio?
Well, it's pull me further into the screen. See what I mean?
Yeah. There we go.
There we go. They can see me now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know where we can put us.
I'd put him in the center between the tables.
Right there.
Lower, all the way to the bottom of the screen.
Okay.
Maybe lower that window a bit more so that to about here. That seems about good.
Sounds good.
And out of the way, I think.
Yeah.
You really don't have to readjust the size of that.
Nope. If you do, then apparently it cuts our faces off.
Yes.
So. Okay. We're just going to leave it like that and call it good.
Yeah. Good.
Sorry for looking away this whole time.
Oh, right.
It's on a different screen because I have too many monitors. It's fine.
Yeah, one of the monitors is blocking my view of the main screen we're looking at.